Hey, I'm Ovidius, and today I'm going to share a couple of tips and a few things that you can try out with your pick and you can apply them immediately. So the first thing, hide your pick. So sometimes you're playing lead line or solo and you must quickly switch back to playing fingerstyle, but you don't know where to put your pick. So this trick will easily help you switch between playing with the pick and then going back to fingerstyle and back and forth. So the trick here is not to put the finger between the fingers, like the thumb and index, or index and middle finger, is actually to move it between the inner part of your middle finger or index finger. I prefer to use middle finger. So you put it in between the two middle joint parts here and you place it like this. So that way you can still use your middle finger for any kind of application that you want. So imagine if you're playing a solo and you quickly switch back and forth. So this takes a bit of practice, maybe a couple of minutes, but once you get used to it, you will not even think about it. So no more dropped picks. So the next tip, pick an angle. Whenever you want to play a faster passage or run, angle of the pick will determine whether you're going to have a hard time executing it or not. So imagine this is your string and this is your pick. So if you put your pick like this, quite flat on the string, it's really hard to maintain accuracy and speed. But the moment you angle it, which goes like this, more like 45 degrees, 30 degrees angle, there's much less resistance and you can actually play much faster with much more ease. So let's move this on a guitar. Let's say we're playing the 5th fret of the G string, which is our C note. And we can just play it in 8th notes. And currently I'm picking really flat on a string. I try to speed up. The moment I'm kind of struggling to maintain the consistency of the dynamics and the tone of the string, of the note. But let's just try to move the angle as we play. So you see the tone has changed, but also the notes have become more even in terms of duration and volume. And personally, it is much easier to play a faster run. If I were to try to do it at the same speed with a flat pick, I can, I guess, do it, but it's much harder. Don't measure, try to find the perfect 45-degree angle. This is just a guideline. Obviously, you will need to find your own perfect angle that works for your hand position, for your technique, and for your needs. Because, as I said before, the tone changes whenever you angle the pick. So you need to find that happy medium that's comfortable and sounds good to you. So the next point I called frugal playing. Right, so when I was younger, I would try to save all of my picks and make them last as long as possible. And I've noticed that whenever I play a lot of chords, my picks will wear off really quickly. So what I started doing, whenever I play chords, I would switch from the pointy part of the pick to the more blunt one. And I would just use that. But whenever I need to go back into solo playing or arpeggiated patterns or lead lines, I would switch back to the pointy part. So that has two things. Obviously saves the pick and also it softens the tone a bit. I noticed whenever I play chords with the pointy part of the pick, which you're supposed to use, whenever I switch to the blunt part, it actually makes it slightly softer. guess whenever you want that a bit more aggressive tone, maybe pointy pick is good. But I find in most situations, the blunt side of the pick actually serves me great. Okay, so this last suggestion, this last idea is dynamics. And dynamics are everything. A really good musician is someone who is in control of their instrument and has a very nuanced and dynamic playing. And the pick is a great tool to control dynamics. Playing soft and quiet is harder than it sounds. I would like you to become more aware of how you phrase your notes, how you phrase your melodies. You don't have to think about each individual note, so to speak, but just having general dynamic curve will definitely help you create a bit more of a movement. So let's just take one note again. Let's go back to that 5th fret on the G string. So I want you to start really quiet and build it up until really loud and then drop it again. So just getting a general feel for dynamics is really important, because then you have more control and you can definitely be more expressive and more subtle and more nuanced. Let's just take this 4-note melody. Right? So you have a choice on what you want to do with it. You can try different variations and try to accent different notes in different parts of the lick. So for example, or see, whenever you accent every note, that initial intention that you had kind of loses its purpose, because it's just repeated all over throughout the whole lick. So you need to be really careful and very intentional with your dynamics and your accents. But that just comes with time and experience and just trying different things. Also, this can be applied to playing chords, responsible for controlling 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 strings at the same time. You know, there are different ways you can go about when it comes to dynamics in when playing chords. One of the ways would be maybe avoiding hitting the same grouping of strings every time. And when you hit the chord, for instance, as opposed to that, creates a kind of separation from the low end to the high end, and it seems like it's a bit quieter as well. So definitely try to experiment with dynamics. This will definitely challenge you, and as a result will make you a better musician, better player, and make your playing tasteful. So I hope these little tips and little suggestions were helpful. If you have any more tricks, any more ideas, what you can do with your pick, please leave them down below, so we can all benefit from them. If any of these tips or suggestions were useful or inspired you, I would definitely appreciate it if you gave this video a like. It helps me tremendously. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.